right, let's get on our feet. We're going to step up to the top of the mat, bring our feet together, hold our heads high, and most importantly, find our breath. Is there anybody new today? I feel like there's new faces here. Anyone never been here before? Oh, see, new face. Welcome. Anybody else totally new? No, just scanning. Hi, welcome. All right, so this is an all levels practice, and depending on how you slept last night, what you ate or drank last night, oh, I feel like it's been a while since I've seen you too. You got to be really honest about where you're at in the morning when you get up, right? So I want you to honor yourself. If you're feeling great, like you're rested and you've been nourished and you feel like you really want to push yourself today, then go for it, right? And if you're also feeling a little sluggish or tired, it's okay to take a knee, it's okay to rest. If you're new to the practice, you might not understand all the cues right away, so if you're a step behind, it's all good. The most important thing that we do when we come out here together like this is that we move and we breathe. Right? And so all of us are going to do that. We're going to move and we're going to breathe. So even though I'm really particular about the cueing and about doing the poses well, don't mistake that for perfectionism. There is no such thing as a perfect pose. There's only consciousness and paying attention while you're doing them. Does that make sense? So bring what you are today. Right? Be honest about your practice and your effort. Let's make sure our feet are together at the top of the mat. Our heads are held high and our breath is flowing free. So as the rest of the people continue to kind of come in, we're breathing. We are ready. And then we're going to add movement to the breath. So as you inhale, reach your arms up. Oh, it feels so good. And then exhale, bring the arms down. Just simple like that. Inhale, arms reach. And exhale, arms come down. Now I can see you all better. Inhale, arms reach. Hi, my loves. Exhale, arms come down. Last one, just like that. Big inhale, reach. And arms by your sides. Good, we're moving on. Inhale again, reach. This exhale, we forward fold. Just bend over, all the way, let your head down. Let your spine sort of cascade down. Let the weight of your head pull a little bit at the bottom. And then lift halfway. Come to a flat back. Look forward. Get the chest wide. And then exhale, fold again. Let the head down. Nicely done. Now we're going to lift the head and widen the chest as we inhale and rise. Come all the way back up with a flat back. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart. That was beautiful. Inhale, arms reach. Oh, I love it. Exhale, forward fold. Lift halfway, inhale. Now we're going to go to plank pose. So we get into an upper push-up position. The feet go to the back of the mat. The hands are right there under your shoulders. And we're going to hold for a second. Yeah, because there's something going on here called muscular energy, right? Right now, if you were to let go of the muscular energy, your hips would sag toward the floor. So I want you to keep your legs strong, your knees straight. I want your belly in toward your spine. I want you to push into your hands so your chest activates. And then we're going to try to keep all of that. And then we lower down onto the belly. And you can certainly put your knees down so that lowering happens a little easier in the shoulders. Hi, welcome. All right, inhale for cobra. And so in cobra, the elbows are bent. We don't come up all the way. We don't jam our shoulders up into our neck. The elbows are bent. The shoulder blades are squeezing into the back. If your elbows are splaying out wide, you got to pull the elbows in toward the waistline. We don't want them out like this. We want them in. Yes, that's it. So the collarbones are wide. It doesn't have to be a big back bend. There should be no pinching in your lower back. There should be an extension and lengthening of the spine, and then we just let it go, chest down. Good, tuck your toes. Let's push up into the plank position. And then lift the hips even more and take it into downward facing dog. So I'm taking my time breaking it down. It just feels like there's a lot of people here today. And I want to just make sure we have our awareness of how the poses move and how they work, and then we can put them into a bigger, better flow. So inhale, push back just a little bit. And then on your exhale, let's look forward and walk our feet up to the top of the mat. Good. Lift halfway, inhale, and then fold on the exhale. Good. With the flat back, we'll rise all the way to standing, lifting the head and chest, reaching those arms high, and then exhale, pull the hands right to your heart. All right, putting that all together, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, plank pose. Let's take one breath here, and then exhale, lower to the belly. Good. Inhale for cobra. Gentle back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. So we always want to remember, it's not the outer form that matters. Like, it's the way you're bending your spine. Like, your spine is probably one of the most important groupings of joints in your whole body. And so don't worry about what the outer form looks like. Don't create a shape from the outside. Pay attention to the mechanics on the inside, the feelings and sensations. All right, take one more breath. Push back a little. And then exhale, look forward. Let's bring our feet back up to the top of the mat. Nice. Lift halfway. Inhale. Fold deeply. Exhale. With a flat back, one more time, we rise up, reach the arms, and then pull your hands right to your heart. Good. Inhale. Let's reach our arms, but hold them there. Hook the thumbs together, spread the fingers, and we'll take a little stretch to the right. Make sure that feels good. If you go too far, it means you can't breathe, right? And so we want to stay where it feels good. How much is enough is part of what happens in yoga. We start to feel where our boundaries are. We start to watch, because we're paying attention, how the boundaries change. And we never cross the line into anything that feels like pain. Inhale, rise back up, and take it to the other side. So here, the left thumb is pulling the right thumb. It gives a little more extension into the arm. It opens up the rib cage. Push down and out through your feet. All we want to do is create space. Yeah. Inhale, come back up to center. Let your arms go. Good. Again, inhale, arms reach, just moving through the shoulders. Exhale, forward fold. Okay, lift halfway on the in-breath. Let's go to plank pose and hold. So we'll stay in the upper push-up position, the belly to the spine, and we're breathing. Go ahead and pick up your right toes off the mat. Yeah, keep that right leg really active. Yes, I like what I see. Put them back down. Do it on the left side. So you just got to notice the integrity of the rest of the pose, even if we unplug one piece. Put the left toes down. Go ahead and lower yourself down onto your belly. Inhale for cobra, gently extending the spine, and then exhale, push up and back into downward facing dog. Yep. Everyone's moving really nicely. Go ahead and lift your right leg high in the air behind you. And then look at your hands. Let's step the right foot forward. Stay on the left toes. High crescent lunge. Yeah, I like it. So the arms are reaching high to the sky, but without getting too distracted there, without reaching up so much, can you put some attention and awareness to your feet? So the back heel is lifted. We're in a high crescent lunge. So the back foot has the heel high, and you got to feel some weight on the pinky toe. And then I want you to lean back and bend your left knee. Bend the back leg. Yep, lean back a little more. Now scoop your tailbone under a little bit. Ooh-wee, I saw that face. Yep, there's a lot of sensation there. Yep, don't be afraid of the sensation. Make sure you're not on a tightrope, because balance could be challenging that way. Yep, nicely done. Let's straighten the back leg, take a breath, and then exhale, put your hands down, Step back to plank and lower. Same exhale. Start to feel the rhythm of that. Inhale for cobra. And then exhale, down dog, and prepare for the other side. High crescent lunge. Left foot steps up. We stay on the right toes. Make sure you have a little bit of length and a little bit of width in your stance. That's it. Arms are reaching high, but don't get wrapped up in the drama of the arms. Let's start to soften the back knee and lean back into it a little bit. Tailbone comes under. Yeah, so there's a little sensation that arises there. Hold your head up. Set your gaze at something straight out in front of you. That's it. Oh my gosh, there's so many people on the platform. It's so nice. Lean back just a little bit. And then on the inhale, straighten your back leg. On the exhale, hands to the earth. Step back to plank. Lower yourself down, empty your lungs. Breathe in deeply in the back bend. And then breathe out as you go to downward facing dog. All right. Fingers are spread wide. Try not to be too heavy in the wrist. You got to spread that pressing all the way through the palms and into the fingers. All right, one more breath here. And then we'll introduce warrior one. Right foot steps up, left foot turns flat. So there's a different variation here. The back foot is in a different position. Facing forward, arms reach. Yep. And so there's a little more torque. There's a little more pull on the front of the left hip here. So you really want to ground into the back foot. Do your best to really straighten the back leg. And as you feel all of that energy kind of pushing back through your leg and your foot, I want you to try to bring the left side of your body a little bit more forward, yeah? So the chest plate is forward. Let's reach a little higher, but then bend the right knee and get in there a little deeper. Good. One more breath. On the exhale, flow. Hands down. Step back lightly, lower slowly. Follow your breathing. Inhaling through cobra and exhaling into down dog. And even if you've done these poses hundreds of times with me, the first time we do them in a practice, they deserve some consciousness, right? They deserve some awareness. So you get a sense of where you are today. Not in every other pose that you've ever done. Left foot steps up, right foot turns flat. Rise up, rounding into the feet so you feel steady. A little extra awareness to how you're using your back leg. So the back foot is grounded. The back leg is turning in a little bit. And as you push through the leg and through the foot, the right side of your body starts to pull forward. Yeah, we turn the chest plate forward. Here comes the big reach. Take the arms up, and as you do it, bend your left knee a little deeper. Feel for the edge of the pose, and then go ahead and flow it out. Hands come down. We step back and we lower, breathing out the whole time. And then inhale for cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. If cobra makes you make a face, that means you should do it less. Not less times, but less intensity. Take one more breath here. Push back a little. And then look at your hands. Go ahead and start to walk your feet up to the top of the mat. And bring your feet together. Lift halfway on the in-breath. Fold deeply on the out-breath. So bend your knees, sink your hips. There's still a dead spot there, even though the tree's gone. Bend your knees, sink your hips, the arms reach. So I know this is a fave. You guys love this pose. Push your feet down and out. Try not to squeeze your knees together. That feels to me like desperation. I don't know why. We don't need the knees to squeeze in. We don't have to rush to the bathroom, right? Like just let the knees separate a little bit and feel how strong both of your legs are. Sit into your heels a little bit. Draw the tailbone slightly down. Be aware of the angle of your pelvis. And then reach high. Just reach out of your waist. That's it. Let's push through our feet and come all the way up. Just stretch. And then pull the hands to your heart. Good. One more time. Chair pose. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Feel all of those feels. And then exhale, forward fold. Dive right in. Good. Lift halfway on the in-breath. Let's go to plank and lower on the out-breath. Really starting to move through the vinyasa. Cobra on the inhale. downward facing dog on the exhale, and then into warrior one. Right foot steps up, left foot turns in. We'll rise for one breath only. Give me everything you know about warrior, and then come right back down. Hands down, step back, let the air out of your lungs, and then breathe in more as you do your back bend, and breathe it out again as you push back. Left foot steps, right foot flat. I'm better off when I don't wander. Come on down, hands down, step back, and lower. I know, but I want to get close to everybody. I want to weave amongst the people. Yeah, find your way to downward facing dog and breathe. All right. And so you might notice that the heart rate comes up. You might notice that a little bit of heat is starting to build from the inside. The temperature outside has not changed. There's even a breeze, but you still feel like you're kind of warm, right? You might even be taking off some of your clothes. Yeah. Yeah, take one more breath here. And then look forward. Let's walk our feet up to the top of the mat. Lift halfway, inhale. Hold deeply, exhale. Good. Bend your knees, sink your hips. It's chair pose. And then push through both feet. Let's come on up. Stretch high and tall. And then bring your hands to your heart. Good. Standing here, equal weight in your feet. Let's hold the head high and then just unplug the right leg. Just lift the right foot off of the mat. Notice what that feels like. The weight shifts a little bit. You have to manage those little tiny fluctuations. Eyes are forward, head is held high. If you look down, the head goes forward and your center in your body changes and you have to fight harder to stay in balance. We want to work smart, not hard here. Go ahead and put that foot down. Let's play with the other side. Just simple. Lift your left knee. Know that because you're not using your hands, the crease of your hip, the front of your left hip is where the movement is going to come from. So you can lift your knee higher because you're squeezing from the crease of the hip. Yes, that would be efficiency right there. And then we'll put that foot down. Nicely done. Inhale for chair pose. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Reach those arms. And then lift your right knee to your chest. Know where the lift is coming from. So you can still sit down nice and low, but you're squeezing that knee kind of high. I like it. Put your foot down, switch sides. Stay in the chair pose. I know those legs are saying, no, I don't want to stay. But you can push them a little bit. That's how they get stronger. Knee to chest, and then plant the left foot down, push through both, and come on up. Oh, yeah. Hands to heart center. All right, inhale, both arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. Lift and lengthen on your inhale. Let's go to plank pose. Lower down to the belly. Good, inhale for cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg is gonna come up high behind you. And I know in that first one, I forgot to lift the left leg, so I'll get it. Now, I want you to stack your right hip on top of your left hip. So you're going to turn your chest and your hips open to the right side. And then instead of bending the knee, what if you straighten it and reach as far back as you can? So imagine your foot going way past the back left corner of your mat. Yeah, right there. Just kind of reaching out of the psoas. Nicely done. You can even look underneath your right arm. And then go ahead and come to plank. Pull your knee to your belly. Squeeze it in tight. Look a little forward. So you're in plank. You're looking at the front edge of your mat. And once again, in the crease of the hip, can you squeeze your knee to your chest? Yes. Then step back to plank and lower yourself down. I'll make nice to your wrists in a minute. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Let's get off the hands for a moment. And as you hang here in your forward fold, just make circles with your wrists. Just your hands kind of moving in circles. If there's any kind of snap, crackle, pops, let them happen. And then change the direction. Yeah, you can do it with interlaced fingers or just let them be free. Just each one individually turning. Yeah. And then just shake them out. Yep. Good. Inhale, look up a little. Walk out into plank. Lift your hips and return to downward facing dog. Left leg rises. It helps a lot if you open your fingers up and make big handprints. Stack the left hip on top of the right hip, so your chest and your hips kind of open up to the left side. And then straight leg, reaching back behind you. The front of that left hip feels long. Both hands still grounded. This looks amazing, you guys. Just stretch and lengthen from like the bottom of your ribs all the way to your toes on the left. Yes. And then come to plank, squeeze the knee to the belly. Same part, but instead of lengthening, now we're contracting. Use the crease of the hip, squeeze the knee to the chest. You can do this. Give me one more breath. And then step back to plank and lower. Take it down slow. Oh, we're shaking a little. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Don't be afraid of the shakes. It's just information. It means that you've created enough load on the muscles that they're starting to fatigue a little bit. They may be asking for a little bit more energy. So you got to breathe more. And you got to embrace that you might actually be getting stronger. Yeah. So glass half full, glass half empty. Walk your hands back to your feet. Is it that you're weak or that you got it? Now bend your knees a little, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, and roll up with a rounded spine. Take your time, one vertebra at a time, come up to standing. Good. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. Let's fold right over. All right, right here the feet should be hip distance apart. Let's take our index finger and our middle finger and stick them out and then make hooks and just wrap around the big toe. You go between the first two toes so the palms are facing each other, and the fingers make a hook under the big toe. Palms are facing each other, right? So we hook from the space between the first two, and then press your toes down into the mat so you feel stable. And then with your fingers, just try to pull the toes up, but you don't actually lift them. So you feel a push and a pull creating a lock. Now once you're in the lock in your feet, start to let your head down. Maybe let the elbows splay out. Use your biceps to pull you down just a little. But remember, we're really working from the crease of the hip. So you can actually pull your body to your legs without using your arms. The arms are there to enhance or accentuate. Now some of you have your knees bent, and I totally respect that and understand that. But see if you can play with straightening one of them. It might not happen, but you play and you expand and you try. And then you soften that one and try the other one. And so we give each one an opportunity to lengthen a little. And now, whether your legs are straight or a little bit bent, I want you to put a little bit, really tiny bit of weight toward your toes. Just lean a little bit into the toes. Yes, stay right there. And then very gently release the gripping of the toes. Bend your knees 90 degrees and reach your arms forward. Come to a flat back. Nice. All right, sweep your arms back behind you. And then clasp your hands behind your back and squeeze your shoulder blades so your arms can lift a little higher. Okay, keep looking forward. Drop your hips a tiny bit more and then lift your heels. So we're just, again, playing with those little fluctuations. Try not to lean your belly on your thighs. Elongate the spine. Hold your own here. Hips down, heart up a little bit. I love it. Drop your heels, sweep your arms up, and come to standing. You did it. Say it out loud. Yep. All right. Release your arms. Inhale again, arms reach. Sweep them up. Exhale, forward fold. You'll probably like this. Inhale, look forward. And then walk forward and put your knees down for tabletop. You're welcome. A little bit of cat-cow, which means that we're just like undulating the spine. On the inhalation, the head comes up, the tailbone comes up, and the ribs spread in the front. On the exhalation, we tuck the chin, we tuck the tail, and we push the back ribs up to the sky. So do that a few rounds, just moving through your body, like just feeling your own range of motion. And if you want to enhance it a little bit, you can rock forward on the inhale and rock backward on the exhale, making the movements just a little bit more, a deeper and longer expression in the spine. Yep, so we rock forward and back, and we arch, and we round and curl. Very nice work, everybody. Pay attention to what you're feeling. Don't just try to follow instructions. And then find your center. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Go ahead and extend your right arm forward and your left leg back. Core integration here. I want you to feel the belly into the spine and lengthen as much as you can. Now listen carefully. We're going to keep the arm and the leg that are in the air really long and really straight, but I want you to just let them down so your fingers and your toes touch the ground. Yep. And then on the inhale, pick them up. On the exhale, lower them slowly. Yep. On the inhale, pick them up. Legs stay straight the whole time. Feel the glute. Feel the back of the shoulder. Do 2 more on your own with your breath. The gaze stays steady so we don't move the neck around too much. Yep. And the next time you're up, hold. Lift a little higher, then bend your left knee. Reach back and grab your left foot with your right hand. Now, keep looking forward. Sometimes we have a tendency to want to look back at the foot, but I want you to look straight ahead, but then start to kick that foot back and up. Imagine your toes spreading up into the sky. Yep, just like that. The chest plate feels forward and open, and the head, the crown of the head is rising. Give me a little push down with the ones that are on the ground. It'll help you lift. Last breath, without flinging or flailing or like boomeranging, like just like let it gently go. Return your hand and your knee to the mat. And then sit back in child's pose. Literally for 1 breath, just to make sure your lower back can curl, tailbone toward the heels. And then come right back to your tabletop. Left arm and right leg. Straight and long, which means the knee is straight, the elbow is straight. You need your muscles to make that happen. Keep lengthening and lifting, breathing, and then we're going to use the breath to create that movement. So it's a exhale as you lower, inhale as you rise. Yep, do a few rounds. I think we did 5 on the first side. Keep the core intact. Don't move the neck around too much. It's slow movement for the back of the shoulder and for the glute, right? So there's no bending. There's no in and out here. It's up and down, up and down. That's it. The next time you're up, hold. Lift a little more, and then bend the right knee. Reach back and grab. Grab what you can. Maybe it's your pants leg. Maybe you pretend you're grabbing and you just keep squeezing your heel towards your bottom, right? Doesn't really matter how the outer pose is, it matters how it feels, right? Go ahead and kick up toward the sky. Spread your toes, even if you don't have your foot in your hand. Spread your toes, yes. Open your chest. Push down into that right arm. Open up the chest. That's it. We're all doing it. Take a breath. And then really carefully let it go so you don't fall out of the pose. Put your hand down, your knee down, and sit back for 1 breath. Round the tail toward the heels. Good. And then come back up, tabletop. We're going to tuck our toes under, and we're going to float our knees. And I know you love this one just as much as you love your chair pose. But these are the ways through the winter that we keep our internal temperature high. Right? When the air around us is cool, we need to be responsible for creating a little bit of heat inside. Now, right where you are, just go ahead and lift your hips into downward facing dog. Yep, stretch the legs back. Let's take a deep breath in and take a little sigh on the exhale. Just a little release of tension, a little release of any energy. And then, if you would, step your right foot forward, get up on your left toes, and rise into high crescent lunge. The arms are going to sweep up high to the sky. And then exhale, please bring your hands to your heart. We're going to lean forward into that, it's the right leg, and we're going to float the left leg up behind us. That's it. Now, to the best of your ability, stretch both arms forward. So you're reaching out in front as much as you're lengthening back through your leg. This is consciousness over effort. We have to balance the actions. Palms face each other, biceps are near the ears. Go ahead, reach a little higher, a little longer. Lift the back leg, feel it in the glute and the back of the shoulders. And then gently step your feet together, hands at the heart. Yeah, I got smiles on that one. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. It's good to feel the challenges physically. Inhale, lift halfway. Let's go to plank and lower. Move through what you know. Try to refine your form. Everything is done with consciousness. Find your way back to downward facing dog. Okay, so Adho Mukha Svanasana, that's where we are. And then left foot steps up, stay on the right toes. Come on up. So we're on the back toes. The back heel is lifted. It's really important because if the heel is in, then we're in an external rotation, and that outer hip is going to be open. So when you come to balance, if your leg is turned out, when you come up, you're going to be turned out. And so you're going to have a really hard time balancing. If we can square, bring the hands to the heart, lean into the front leg, then go ahead and lift the right leg behind you. So if you let the right hip lift, you have a hard time holding the balance. Keep the left hip and the right hip level. Yep, that's it. Use your toes on the mat. Extend your arms forward. Equal effort, reaching forward and extending back. Some of you have kind of soft knees. The back leg is just kind of dangling there. Make that back leg fierce. Straighten it. Kick back into the space behind you. You got it. If you're going to reach forward, you got to kick back. Let's lift everything a little bit more. And then gently bring it together. Feet together, hands at the heart. Nicely done. Inhale, arms reach. No drama. Let's just flow. Exhale, forward fold. I could already feel the drama ready to bubble. Lift halfway. Let's go to plank and lower. It's funny, right? It's just like, welcome to your humanity. Just be willing to see it in the privacy of your own practice, right? And then, here we go, downward facing dog. Okay. Let's look at the hands and take a walk up to the top of the mat, bringing the feet together, please. Lift halfway, inhale, and fold deeply on the exhale. All right, bend your knees, sink your hips, chair. Stay in your chair pose, drop your arms down, and clasp your hands behind you. Good, start to lift your hands away from your back, sit a little lower. That's it. Now keep the hands back there, straighten your legs. Push the legs back and the hips forward. Lift your head and chest and take a little back bend. Draw the tailbone down. Push down and out through your feet. Lift up through your chest. Just look at the sky. You don't even have to drop your head back unless your neck wants to. Most of our necks don't want to. Right? So you got to listen. Hips come forward. Chest lifts higher. And then we come on out of it. Release the fingers and just stand in Tadasana for a moment. This is good. All right. So we're going to play with our balance, and we're going to play with some of the moves that we just did. This is kind of a fun pose. We're going to balance on our right leg, but bend our left knee. Just bend the left knee. And then your left hand, like put your elbow right by your waist, and then just like take your hand out, right? You see that? So that means your hand is just going to continue back until it's inside the arch of the foot. Don't turn it around. Palm out. Palm out. Turn it around, Jonathan. Nope, the other way. Yep, that's it. Grab the arch. Yep. Now you can feel the bind, you can feel the connection that you're making, the lock you're making with your foot and your hand. I need you to like hold your foot strongly and kick your foot into your hand so those two energies meet. Then sweep the right arm up over your head. Now, just like when we were in Warrior 3, you're going to lean a little forward. You're going to keep reaching with your right arm forward, and you're going to keep kicking back with your left. Yeah, spread your toes toward the sky. This is amazing. Look at how many people are doing Natarajasana, right? We're doing the dancer, Shiva, right? Lord of the dance. Okay, bring it back in slowly. Put your foot back down. Stand tall. Well done, everyone. Let's play with the other side. So we stand on the left leg. We bend the right knee. Put your right elbow in by your waist and then just let the palm turn out, right? So that palm stays open like that. And you just kind of reach down and go to the inside, the arch of the foot. Feel the lock. Create the bind here. The hand and the foot are working equally. You kick back as much as you hold tight with the foot. And then sweep the left arm high, bicep near the ear. We hinge at the hips and we start to reach forward and kick back. Body comes parallel with the ground. Oh, it's so beautiful. I don't always do poses like this because they're complex and I want us to feel successful. But can you look around and see what is happening here? Magnificence. Kick back, reach forward, and then let it go. Feet on the ground, arms by your sides. Everybody, woo! Yeah, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. That is consciousness in action. Lift halfway. Let's go to plank and lower on the exhalation. Feeling good. Breathe in as you do your back bend. Breathe out as you return to downward facing dog. Okay. So good. Take 2 breaths here. Just kind of feel the energy of your practice. Hips high, head low, breathing free. And then gently rise up onto your toes, softly place your knees onto the mat. Yeah. Sit back on your heels for a moment, and then just one more time, just give me a little bit of circles with the wrists. Yeah. Wiggle the fingers as you do it too, and then change the direction. You guys get all of that? You feel there's so many bones in there, there's so many joints in there. Yep, and then just shake them out a little bit. So just to increase a little bit of our circulation in there. And then we come back to tabletop. Tuck your toes, float your table. Big handprints, spread the fingers, push down and out. No, push down and in. Push down and in, and then your toes are going to dig into the mat and they're going to push down and out. Belly to the spine, patience here. Not waiting for it to be over, not waiting for the next cue, just being right here in your power. 2 more breaths. You can do anything for 2 breaths. Keep looking at the front edge of your mat, and then go ahead and put your knees down. Nicely done, everybody. All right. Where do I want to go next? How are we? We okay? We play a little bit? All right, float your table. Float your table, and then pick your right foot up off the ground. Good, put it down. You're still in the floating table. It's a tiny lift, 2 inches off the mat. Left toes pick up 2 inches off the mat. Yep, that's it. Put them down. Right hand touches left shoulder. Put it down. Left hand touches right shoulder. Put it down. Okay, put your knees down. How many of you felt like you rocked a little to one side to make that happen? Yeah? Come on, be honest. No one's judging you. You're not getting a grade. It just means like, yeah, that was me. Okay, so now as we approach this the second time, you're going to try to make that not you. And the way that we do that is by core integration, right? So it's like we can actually learn how to work smart. And so if you really hold together, if you do the integrations, of your hands and your feet, when you pick one up, you don't really have to move, right? You don't really have to move your center if you're, if you really mean it. You're holding your center. Let's try it again. This is how we learn to fly. This is how we learn to float and have grace in the practice. Right toes? You can feel it. You want to shift, but you kind of hold steady. Do the other side. Left toes. So much better. Right hand. Left hand. So much better. Good. Put it down. Just take a breath. We're going to keep adding. All right, when you're ready, shake your hands out if you need to. Turn them over for a second if you need to. If your hands are really, really bearing the brunt of it, I think you could probably be using your chest, your core, and your legs a little bit more, right? The body's giving you information right now. All right, float your table. Lift the right hand and the left leg. Oh, you got it. And then switch. Left hand, right toes. Yep. Good, put it down. That's the hardest part. So what we're going to add on next looks harder, but what you just did is actually harder. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'll walk you through it, but we're going to lift the right hand, the left foot, and then we're going to pivot on the back foot and float the leg through. Okay, so this is easier, being flat on the foot, holding, put your hand on your heart so it feels like you're recentering, and then you come back through and put it down. So we pick up opposite hand and foot, pivot the back foot flat, pass your bottom leg through, kick it through like you mean it. This leg is active, right? And then we come back to center. Okay, let's try it. There you go. Flex the foot so you kick out through the heel. Yep. Try both sides. I'm not even going to cue it now because you guys are all over the place doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. Come back to center. So it's not just the leg. The opposite hand has to come out. Hand on the heart. Yep. And then put it back. All right. Did we get that? Okay. I think a lot of us got it. Do we need instruction on that or are we good? Okay. We'll add on one more layer just because it's fun. So here we go. We do just what we just did. Lift one, pass it through, then drop down toward your heel. Like your sit bone goes to your heel, then you push back up and come through, right? So we pass through, go down and up. And it's all about lifting the pelvic floor, keeping the contraction in the hip flexor. Yes, Michelle, you got it. You're rocking it. Look at all of my people floating. Grace, Sheridan, hand on your chest. Yeah, pull it in, right? You feel more in control there. Center of gravity. Yeah, very nice. Go, Evan. I see you. All right, bring it back to center. All right. Child's pose at the back of the mat. Back it up so much that your toes go to the back edge of the mat. All right. So this is going to be the last piece. Your toes are at the back edge of the mat. You're going to come up into a floating table with your toes at the back edge of the mat. And then you got to hold that center, right? You got to hold that belly to the spine. You're going to float your knees, touch your toes. And then I want you to crawl without putting your knees down till your fingertips touch the front of the mat. Oh, look at you go, Mark. You got it now. So we crawl all the way to the front edge. Try to stay low and steady, and then crawl it back. Oh, this is so good. We are doing building blocks right now. This is not a yoga pose. This is like foundation work, so you can do the yoga poses. Yeah. And then child's pose. Don't get mad at the teacher. I do this because I love you. And I want to see your progression, right? We have to awaken some of the muscles in the body that we're not used to using, so that when we want to flow, we flow with a little more grace and confidence and strength. Come on up to downward facing dog. So with an awareness of how you made yourself float in all of those poses, let's come through a flow. Come forward into plank. Inhale. Lower down nice and slow. Don't let the belly fall out. Nice. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay. One deep breath in, one big exhale out, and then come to a seated position. Sukhasana, Virasana, so simple crossed legs or sitting on the heels. Do you remember the integration and the core work that you were doing in all of those poses that we just did? Use that here. Use that to make your upright sitting more sustainable, right? The pelvic floor, the core, like all of that. Just kind of holding together at the spine and aligning the crown over the tail. Don't be afraid to root your tailbone into the mat and then like kind of sit back a little bit. Yeah. And then just there. Try to relax the hips. Let the knees down. Hold your head high. Shoulder blades draw back and down gently. So this is a moment where you just stop so your body has a moment to remember. When 45 minutes of cues are coming at you and you're just doing them, there's not always a moment for the integration to happen. So right here, just let the practice settle into your cells. Let the action settle into your consciousness so that your body remembers. The next time you come to the mat, you're going to remember how it felt to like reach forward and reach back, or how to make that bind with your foot and have it equally pulling and squeezing the foot but kicking into the hand. Those little things that may have awakened in you today, floating and holding and not leaning as you try to move your body through space. Let yourself remember. Go ahead and take one more breath. With the exhale, melt a little bit. Drop your chin to your chest, soften your posture, soften your belly. Give yourself a little break. And then unfold your legs. Take them out in front of you. And if you would, just cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Both legs straight out in front. Yeah. And then if you would, soften your right knee and let the right leg turn open just a little. Just kind of like cash. Right? And then you're going to fold forward. Yep. So it's ankle to ankle with a little softness in the right knee. Yep. And then just fold over. The sensations are different from one leg to the other. Yeah? Yeah. So we're just creating a little external rotation in the right leg, a little hamstring stretch in the left leg. We didn't get to do a lot of hip rotation today. It's hard in an hour to prioritize lots of body parts. Psoas and core work, hamstrings, really important. All right. Let's keep the ankles crossed. Come on up. Take your hands behind you. We're going to put our hands back behind us, and maybe the fingers turn out slightly, but not all the way back, right? We don't want them all the way turned back, and we don't want them all the way turned in. I think for most of us, slight turnout is what we need. And then keep the ankles kind of squeezing into each other. Push down into your heels and into your hands, and lift your body up. Use those feet. Lengthen your legs, lift your chest. Maybe the head drops back. Ask your neck permission, see what it says. Yep. And then the chin comes back to the chest, and you lower your hips gently. Switch your ankles. So the left knee is a little soft. The left leg has a slight turn out, and then we fold forward. And we feel for the different sensations. We allow our head to softly bow forward. So the back body lengthens, and we increase increase our sensitivity to what's happening in each leg. Don't pull. There's nowhere to get to, so don't pull. There's nowhere to get to, so don't pull. You don't need, let it soften. Yeah, because you're trying to get somewhere. Yeah, we're done with the hard work. Now let your belly move when you breathe. Yeah, belly button moving when you breathe. Better? Yeah. Okay. We'll keep the ankles crossed and come on up, sit tall. Take the hands behind you. We push down to rise up, right? Push down into the hands, lift the hips, squeeze the ankles. Maybe the head drops back. Come on, how high can you get the hips up? For a moment, just pick them up, pick them up, pick them up, and then gently put them down. Good. Let's bend our knees and lay ourselves down. I think you earned that. Lay down onto the back, pull the knees into the belly, please. Feel a softness in the crease of the hips, so we're no longer trying to chest. The crease of the hips soften. You can rock a little bit side to side if your body needs it. Nice sweatshirt. We rock a little side to side. That's it. And go ahead and place the soles of your feet down on the mat. Let your knees drop apart. Supta Baddha Konasana. With the intention of a letting go. Arms can come up over the head. Let them rest on the ground. Imagine hollowing out the shoulder and the armpit. Maybe hollowing out the hip. And just be a little softer here. Close your eyes for a moment. Take all of your attention away from doing anything and just let yourself be. The arms are resting on the ground. If your arms are in the air, let them down. Elbows are soft, fingers are soft. I see some of you have your arms like up. Let the arms go. And then we'll bring the arms out like a T. Draw the knees to the center. Please pick your feet up off of the mat and then take your legs over to the right. Beautiful. Spinal twist. Be as soft as you can be. No intention of going deeper or further or pushing or pulling. We did all the pushing and the pulling already. If your feet or your legs are in the air, let them down. Let them down. Yep. Not back to center, but like down to the right. Yep. And then nice and easy, pull it back into the middle and over to the other side. And then please let the legs down on the left side. So if you're holding your legs in the air, you're working too hard, right? The arms should be out like a T, resting in the grass or on the ground, and the legs are softly over to your left side. You should be able to feel your breath moving in your belly. There should be no restriction. The bottom of the rib cage should expand on the inhalation. And if you're using your core by holding your legs up, you'll have a hard time getting that softness in the belly. You'll see here as we make our way back to center that that's exactly what happens. The core engages and we pull everything back in. And then plant your feet back on the mat. Slide each leg straight down. Arms by your sides. So as we go through this process of letting go of the form, letting go of our wanting to make the poses right, we start to learn to let go a little bit in the body. And then as you lay here for these last few moments in sacred rest, we actually start to let go of the breathing too. For a whole hour, you have been diligently breathing in rhythm with your movement. So we did it. We did all the breath and all the movement, and now we let it go. The breath does whatever it wants to do because the intelligence of the body knows better than you do how much oxygen you need and how to balance it with the carbon dioxide that's in your bloodstream. And so you can just let down and let go and trust. Breaths right here in the stillness. As the breath begins to awaken you, you can start to move, stretch, breathe any way you like. Be gentle with yourself as you transition from your practice into your morning, into your Saturday. So eventually we'll all find our way to seated. All right. How do we feel? We feel woo? All right, that's good. I'm glad. We're going to close the practice with the beautiful and the sacred sound of Om. And I know week after week you guys are here with me. You hear the way I close the practice. And I know that so many of you have heard it so many times that you probably know it. And so if you feel compelled to want to say it out loud with me, you can, right? I feel like sometimes you just sit and listen, and I feel like we could amplify that prayer. We could amplify that desire to create a shift in the universe of peace, right? If more voices were elevated during that. So if you're not sure what I'm saying, you just listen. But if you've been listening and you feel like you want to try to mumble along with me, you can, right? And then eventually maybe we will all have that little invocation, right? So, hands together at the heart. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Perfect Peace. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. May the actions of my life and all of our lives somehow contribute to that happiness and that freedom for all, so that we may all know peace, peace, perfect peace. Namaste. Namaste, everybody. Thank